Welcome once again to Commander's Pod. My name is Duncan. I'm your pod father.
I'm Sloan.
And we are Jeffless today. Scheduling conflicts. He was going to be here for when we recorded, and we had some issues, so he couldn't be here for today. But he'll be back next week. And we got a lot to talk about today, though. The bracket game changers changed.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Some changes there. We got unbans.
We did.
Yep. That's exciting. We have new secret lairs.
Yep.
And an update on Spider-Man coming to Arena.
Correct.
So, let's get into. Well, first let's do a Tales from the Table.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had our Commander Precon League this past weekend.
We did.
Yep. I won one.
I did not win any in the league, unfortunately. So I'm sitting at a measly 7 points.
Yep. And for those of you who may not have watched from the beginning of us talking about this, why are we talking about our local league? It's because it's a Precon League that they allow you to upgrade every week, and it's going to run 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of a cool idea we thought fans might be interested in.
Yeah, and the big thing is, too, is we want to kind of give you guys our live feedback and reactions as the league's going on. So maybe you can present this to your local shop, or if you are a local shop owner and you're trying to find a way to get maybe Commander players back to your shop on a consistent basis, this is a great way to do it, because so far I'm actually super sad I had missed the 1 week already. So,
yeah, me too.
I mean, I really wish I was able to be there every week, but it is something that thus far I have enjoyed thoroughly.
So I had two wins the week I started.
Right.
One
week
win
Yep.
this one, so that makes up for the week I missed.
Right.
But that also means I just have participation points, basically, as the equivalent. But anyway, so like I said, I won one. I won my first one. No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I lost my first one. I won my second one. But in my first one, I did take somebody out turn 4 with 21 commander damage.
It was gross.
It was pretty cool. In the second game, I took out somebody turn 5 with 16 commander damage. I had already hit him for 8. So that was pretty good. But the game 3, my buddy Nick started this week, and he was playing a pretty strong dragon precon from Tarkir. I think it's Abzan.
Yeah, the white, black, green one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had stomped the whole night. First game, won in 10 minutes.
Crazy.
Killed all 3 players in 10 minutes.
That's insane.
Second game, won in 15 minutes. And I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to be good. Like, this is, my deck was good, but it wasn't, I didn't think I could pull off a turn 4, kill somebody, and I didn't. And he started getting pieces in. He had one that made his dragons cost 2 less.
Right.
He had another piece that whenever he creature came in, he got like a +1 counter, got to draw a card and make a treasure. I mean, that's gross.
Yeah.
And then he had another thing, I don't remember what it did, but it was just more value.
Yeah.
And then he had like a mana rock or something, right?
Yeah.
So I have a single piece of removal, but it's red removal.
Yeah.
And chaos removal.
Yeah, so not really removal.
I mean, it's removal, but you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
It's like life is like a box of chocolates, so is this removal.
Right.
Yeah.
Good way of putting it.
So the way the card read was you destroy target permanent, and then they reveal cards, so they reveal a non-land card, and then they may cast it for free.
Right. And this isn't like Discover or anything where it's like it has to be a certain mana value. It's just the first one you hit that is not a land.
And I know he has big dragons there, right?
Right.
But he's got to hit like probably a mana rock or an instant or sorcery.
Right. Something that's
not that big.
Right. That may not be as useful.
So that's what I'm hoping on. And it has demonstrate, so I can give one of the other players a copy so they can remove something. When I give demonstrate, obviously I get a copy. That's 2. I had something that copied it. I got
your commander was out, so it was the second spell you cast.
Yep.
So you got to copy it.
So, and then I also had Voice of Duality out, which doubled the trigger, so I got to copy it again.
Yeah. So Duncan has 4 copies himself.
Right. So I told that player, I'll take care of him. There was another player over here that was like, he has one thing that's too good.
Yeah. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Get rid of it. And so that's what we did. All right. This player, it was last target chosen. We went in order. Anyway, he was like 3rd. When his resolved, he got nothing. Like it was just like whatever, a mana dork or something. Nick, however, flips into like a 7/6 dragon that gives all his other dragons double strike. He flips into some other big dragon that does something else gross.
Right.
And then he flips over into something else that buffs all his dragons and lets him flip cards at the top of his. It was a saga that the first thing it did was he got to go get something. So he actually got another thing. He got to flip from his deck. And then the second thing it did was something else. And then the third one was going to be all his dragons deal double damage that turn. So that wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Voice of Duality had, what's the name of the mechanic?
Magecraft.
Magecraft. Yeah. So each time I copied a spell, I got +2/+2 or cast. And that was 4 triggers. So I had +8/+8, and it's a 2/2. That's a 10/10. And I'm going to swing that at him. So I figure he'll lose one of the dragons, right?
Yeah.
No, because the fourth thing he flipped, removal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It was rapid hybridization. He turned my thing into a 3/3 Flizzard. And
yeah, I mean, so when people ask and always say, Sloan, why do you think Chaos Warp is not great? This is why.
Yeah, because this is very like Chaos Warp.
It's if someone has a good deck, Chaos Warping doesn't do anything.
Right.
Like that's why, in my opinion, even though it's a very red removal, Red's got to figure out a different way to do removal because just giving people free spells is not working.
Yeah, it's just it was a bad news. And so he killed me first, and but luckily the other 2 players rallied and kept him from winning.
Yeah, that's good.
I did help a little before I died.
Right.
But they kept him from winning, and so it was a draw. So he didn't get 3 wins out of the night.
Which would have been insane because that basically means because he missed the first 2 weeks. And just as a reminder, just for showing up and playing, each game you play, you get 1 point just for playing. You only get an additional point if someone is distinctly the winner.
Yeah, that person gets a point.
That person will get a point then if they win. So if he would have won all 3, and he would have had 6 points, which is 1 less than I have.
Right.
And I've played 2 whole weeks worth of game, you know, so.
And he doesn't care too much about how he ends up because he can only play every week.
Yeah.
But if he were to win every game the nights he played, it would be like as if he showed up every night.
Week. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then if he gets a week somehow where he gets to sneak 2 in a row, then I mean, and luckily he's actually not missing this week.
Right, because they're closed because they're moving down to a much bigger space. It's like 3 times the size. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I had an Oopsie. But it ended up okay, but it was bad. Like it was way worse when I was done. I was like, sorry guys, I tried.
Yeah.
We also have a that doesn't do what you think it does. And it came up that night. My commander, if a spell targets and it's the second spell you cast, you can copy it.
Right.
Right. And there had been a ruling apparently that the one of the owners had made. Now, it wasn't the one who's an official judge, but he judges when that guy's not there.
Right.
He has some training, but he's not an official judge. And he had ruled that auras don't target.
Right.
So first of all, auras do target. Mm-hmm. They have a keyword ability, and that keyword says target.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it on the card.
Because so a lot of times what the default ruling is, in case you're curious, is if the card doesn't say target, then it doesn't target. But there's always a clause. Enchantments, they say enchant creature, and part of that keyword,
auras.
Or I'm sorry, enchantment auras specifically say enchant creature.
Right. So, and enchant player, again,
same thing if it's an enchant player aura. So what Duncan is saying is that keyword enchant creature or enchant player, when you look up that word, it says this is a targeting ability.
Yep. So there's that. But then secondly, there was some confusion about the fact that when you copy an enchantment, it skips the targeting.
Right. So now this is where the confusing part comes in. So if you cast it, you have to follow all of the steps when you cast something.
Yep.
However, when you create a token of something, you are no longer casting it, meaning the enchant creature technically is not part of it because that's the easiest way I can think of it is casting cost. It's not a part of the casting cost anymore.
Right.
You don't have to target anything.
Right.
You just get to
it's
slide
part
it
of
in
the
there.
So it's like when they say you have to name your target before you can pass priority on like an instant or sorcery, right? It's a very similar thing.
Right.
So it skips that targeting.
Correct.
Okay. So the way it works is it just slides on to wherever you want it to go, though. It still goes there.
Right.
It just skips the targeting. And so people who play Zur the Enchanter know, you can do that and just get past Shroud and stuff. So if you have your Lightning Greaves on Zur to protect him, you can still enchant him.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that, if someone has Hexproof or Shroud on a creature they control, with Zur, the way it works, again, because when he attacks, it's on the attack trigger, you go and get a converted enchantment with converted mana cost 3 or less and put it into play. You're not casting it, so if I want to pacifism your commander, I can do it, even if it has Shroud or Hexproof.
Or Ward or anything else.
Or anything, because I'm not targeting it. It's just coming into existence on your creature.
Yep.
So it's a very...
It even gets around protection. I mean,
it's gross. It is super gross.
It's a silly rule, but it's the way it is. So if you copy a spell while there is no target, it still goes where you want it to go. If you cast it, it does target. So those things are important when you're playing the Sultai with Shiko and Narset, the Sultai Tarkir deck.
Yep.
So that's that. That's how that doesn't do what you think it does. So let's talk about the new Spider-Man is not coming to Arena.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little sad, and clearly there's an uproar about this too.
And there's a lot of theories.
There's a lot of different things it could possibly be. The biggest thing that we want to touch on and bring up about this is it's just the fact that this is supposed to be a standard set.
Right. It's supposed to be standard legal.
Which
so
the whole
Arena is standard.
Right. That's the whole thing about Arena. Was the whole reason why it exists is because we want to give an official Wizards of the Coast Magic standard play template for people to play on. And so you would assume every single standard set that comes out, which is what they have told us is what they're trying to do, well, this is one, and now they're not going to have it. And so there's a couple different things it could be. So the first one,
Wizards announced the reason, though, they don't have the license.
Right.
Okay, it wasn't part of the contract.
So when they negotiated for the license, they very simply could have been told by whoever owns Spider-Man, which I think is Sony still.
Well, Sony owns the movie rights. I'm not sure who owns the digital rights.
Right.
He does appear in the Marvel video games,
right,
like Marvel Snap, Marvel, what's the new one, Champions you were playing for a while?
Yeah, geez Louise. The Marvel one that's just came out last year, and it's like huge. It's like the #1 game right now.
And he's
Steam.
in that, right?
Yeah, he's in that.
So, I mean, there's obviously ways that they can use him. So we don't know if it was, some people say Wizards didn't want to pony up that extra money to have the digital rights.
Right.
I think it's more likely that Disney said you can't have them. Now, whether it's because they didn't have them or because they want to reserve those rights for themselves, who knows? But they did not want to. I think they didn't give it. But regardless, it's not coming.
So, with that being said, it's not coming to Magic the Gathering Arena as Spider-Man.
Right.
It is, however, going to be converted into
universe
within as on Arena. So
you'll have the same abilities.
Yeah, everything will be. I think they said everything's pretty much going to be worded and works exactly the same. It just won't be Spider-Man on the cards.
Right. It'll be a Magic character.
Yeah.
So, an TG character, maybe a new one, maybe an old one, who knows. But so all those unique cards will be converted to Magic cards, just like they've done with some of the old Secret Lairs.
Right.
So that's just how that's going to go. Now, for those of you worried, Final Fantasy and Avatar will come to Arena. That was part of the contract. They will be there.
Yeah, and I think they announced that when this announcement came out.
About they wanted to make sure, set people's mind at ease. Look, it's only this one set.
Yeah.
I find it odd that they didn't tell everybody this right away. Maybe they were still working out the details, and this is where they ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a lot of it because Spider-Man's a little bit unique with how many different people kind of own him.
Yeah.
So I think probably that's, honestly, in my opinion, that's probably what it is. There's just too many hands in that pot, and it's too difficult.
Yeah, they're
to try to
probably
get all
like,
of them to say
no,
yes.
we're not splitting that one up.
Yeah, we're not. We've already got 3 or 4 people getting this. We're not doing it anymore. Like, we're kind of done with it. So, but you can still get the physical card version. So, and you'll still get the digital version just in Arena, just not as Spider-Man. It will be something else, name someone else or whatever. It might be Man Spider. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't think they would go that far. They'll make
Man Spider, just flip the colors instead of being red and blue.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to taunt Sony like that.
Yeah, just to stick it to Marvel.
Or Marvel.
Yeah,
Okay. So next bit of news. They announced some new Secret Lairs.
Yeah, out of nowhere it seemed like.
Yeah.
Which this is, again, we talked about it with Deadpool. and we talked about it with the Secret Lair they did a week and a half before Deadpool. They're getting a little Secret Lair.
They are,
happy.
but they have quieted down. I mean, we haven't had one for a few weeks. It wasn't like when they did SpongeBob and then the very next week they had that.
They had Deadpool.
They had Deadpool.
Right, but here's the difference though. Like this is what 3 or 4. So it's like they did one every week.
But they often do that. When they release Secret Lairs, they often do a lot. I'd rather have them do it all in one day than every week have them do it. Now, the other thing is they announced the full deck list for the Everyone's Invited deck.
Yes. This
teased.
was the big thing that everyone was talking about, the tease, and they weren't sure if they were going to release the deck on the yesterday during the announcement or if it was going to be later and they were just announcing the deck, what it was. And it turns out they were just announcing the deck.
Yeah,
and
they
what it was
announced the full deck list. They had already teased what some of the cards were. So let's get into that one first. So this and all of the Secret Lairs we're going to talk about come out May 12th.
Yes.
So if you want it, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Western Time.
Yep.
Those are the times that it's the same time, obviously, time zone. But that's the time that it's going to release. If you want to be sure to get this, get on then.
Yeah.
If you are late, there's no guarantees. We know how it goes. I doubt this will be as smooth as Deadpool was.
I also don't. I think in my opinion, the only one you're really gonna see go wicked fast is going to be this deck. Even though this deck is a little expensive, in my opinion, the value you're getting out of it is high. But I think out of everything they're dropping that day, this is going to be the thing that's going to go the fastest.
I think this will be one of them. There is one other thing we'll talk about when we get there. Let's just get into this.
So this deck is Morphon the Boundless. Is who they named as the commander. There is a special art for him, and then 10 including him or 10 additional cards?
10 including him.
So 10 cards in total have this special art for this deck that you're only gonna
plus tokens. There are tokens.
Yeah, there's tokens too, but the actual cards themselves that have special art. There's 10 of them total, including the commander. So
and how much is it if they want to buy it on the
$199.99?
It's $199 even, I believe.
I thought it was $199.99.
You might be right. I wrote down $199, but either way, $200 basically.
Now they say that the value is closer to $350 total that you're getting out of it. Now
they say that. That's what I looked it up.
Right, that's what when you look it up and put all the cards in and everything.
I came out with $330, but that's not going for which ones are foil and what. So it's probably
right. And
if you foil the foil ones, it's probably $350.
And the other thing is too, you may not have these new special arts included in that price because again they're not out yet. So they might not have like these special arts.
Yeah, this was just for basically the cheapest version of all these cards.
Right.
It was $330 value.
Right. So if you do end up going with this, you at face value you're technically netting over $100 give or take.
Yeah.
So there is value in the deck for sure. In regards to the actual build of the deck, it's pretty tuned.
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, it's pretty cohesive. Tuned, I wouldn't say, because it's not optimized. That's what I consider tuned. You know what I mean? But it is tuned in. It is.
Well, I would say tuned is the fact that it actually has a central theme that's pretty consistent. You can see it. Optimized is getting better versions to make it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean terminology.
Yeah. To shrink to narrow the vision on it.
It has a very specific theme, and it goes for that theme well.
Yeah.
It is not an optimized deck. It has no game changers at all. This is listed as a tier 2. I checked that out. I put it into the little calculator, and it came out with tier 2. So that idea is you can still upgrade it. You can still make it yours. You can make it better if you want. You can run it as a 2.
Yeah.
You know. What are some cards that stood out for you?
Well, so to kind of give you a breakdown so you have an idea of what it is, obviously the name, Everyone's Invited, it's going to be a creature-heavy deck. So it's 37 creature cards. You're going to have 7 sorceries. You're going to have 6 enchantments. You're going to have 5 artifacts, 8 instances, 37 lands, and then 4 cards that they're calling kindred cards that are kind of a little, like there's 4 in there, but there's like 1 enchantment, 1 instant, and so,
they all care about creature type.
But those specifically, they are very the whole reason why they're in here is because they only care about creature types. So I mean the big thing here is when looking at the creature list, they got a lot of creatures that like you build like that is a commander. It's almost like they just like the whole everything's invited is like, what's all like really these cool commanders? Great, we're gonna throw them all in one deck. Like that's kind of what it feels like. You have, Bernard Ginger Sculptor. You have Bruce Tarl. You have Kiri. You have a Sliver. You have Rin and Siri. Like you have all of these cards that are like pretty iconic commanders for the tribal playstyle.
Right.
Put into one deck.
Right. I remember World Tree's in there. There's a
Yeah.
lot. I think this is a lot of callbacks. It's a lot of cards that people like.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to
I mean,
say.
Bitter Blossom's in here. Like,
Yep.
you haven't seen really anyone tinker around with Bitter Blossom in a little while.
Right. It's been a little while, but
Right.
when they did, you saw it everywhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, there's a good chance that that's going to jump back up in price because it's in this deck. You have Black Market Connections, which is getting another reprint here for this deck,
Yep.
which they just did last year with Assassin's Creed. It's a great card, though. Again, it's a really good card. People love it. Now, I will say Duncan definitely is not a fan of the land base. 37 lands, and only 8 of them only 11 of them are basic.
But I do get it when you're playing a 5-color deck.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you have like Coat of Arms is one of the artifacts in here. They actually bless you with a Soul Ring and an Arcane Signet.
Yep.
They stopped putting Arcane Signets in some precons for some
Yep.
reason. So, but yeah, I mean, it's very, very much themed. They did a good job with kind of the idea
Yep.
of
Everything tribal.
yeah, just we're gonna make it so every single time you put something out, a bunch of things are gonna trigger because it hits everything. So
Right.
you do have a good amount of shapeshifters in here too, which have the changeling ability in case you're not familiar, which means they're every creature type.
Right.
So you do have a lot of stuff like that in here. So I think it is a pretty cohesive deck. I think right out the box you could definitely have a lot of fun with it. You can do some pretty fun shenanigans with it, with all of the different things that you can have happen and trigger just off of one casting of a spell.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. So I do think that, in my opinion, overall, I don't think I'd ever pay $200 for Precon, personally. But
I might do it again, even though I don't know. I'm not that into creature heavy decks. I have a few, but they have cool things they do.
Right.
And this has cool things it does. But I mean,
Yeah.
there's specific themes. They're not really attacky. This one seems like it might be more attacky. But
yeah,
I might get it just because it does have some cool art. But
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say too. So the 10 art cards, the 10 cards with the crazy art on it. There's a couple here on the website I'm looking at, Magic Gathering. I'm just on their website. The art is very loud and very busy. Like there's a lot happening in each picture. Maskwood Nexus has like this giant tree and there's like 40 creatures on it somehow in the art. So there's a lot going on in the art, and the art style is very I would say it's almost very fairy tale-esque in the sense that it's very imaginative.
Yeah.
Like there's like kind of weird, it's like a weird art style. So if you're very into that, obviously this is definitely gonna be something you're gonna like.
Yep.
And you'll kind of notice that the other Secret Lairs they're releasing with this are kind of similar. Like their art style is a little more out there.
Yeah. These are not subdued art styles for these Secret Lairs.
Yeah, these are very much kind of all in the same theme.
I'd say you're either gonna like them or you're gonna hate them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. So there's
because some people are traditionalists. They like tradition. You're not gonna get that out of these.
Yeah,
these are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, these are very busy. These are very loud arts that we're about to go over, and you're probably seeing some behind us now. So, but yeah, I mean, I think overall, I think they did a good job with it. Calling it, everyone's invited kind of makes sense. You have a lot of like the big time commanders that you always see out in this deck, and so that's super fun too. And so I think overall I think this will sell out really quickly though, because I do think a lot of people are excited about this.
Yeah, they've been talking about it for a while. They hyped it up a month ago or so. Yeah. People have been waiting. So May 12th, you can get yours. Yeah. So the rest of them are what they're calling the Ultimate Pencil Superdrop. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't have to get them all at once, but if you get them, that's what the bundle's called.
Yep.
Right? So there's some stuff to talk about here too. So the first one is KEXP. You Are Not Alone. It's supposed to be like a radio station theme, I guess.
Yeah.
Price on this is $29.99 for non-foil, $39.99 for foil, so your standard pricing.
Yep.
Cards here are Cultural Exchange, Folio of Fancies, Concordant Crossroads, Rites of Flourishing, and Font of Mythos. Your value here is right around $55. Again, that's just cheapest card available.
Right.
Not foiling it out. Not foiling it out. Of that though, Concordant Crossroads is about $20 right now, and so is Font of Mythos. So that's most of your value right there.
Right.
But yeah, what do you think about it?
So I was really confused when they called this, this Ultimate Pencil Super Drop. I was like, that's so weird to call something a pencil drop. But then when you look at it, the art style is very reminiscent of someone like kind of scratching stuff in their notebook, and I guess
that's what they were going
for. Right?
Yeah.
So again, this art style is a little loud and kind of out there. It's a little weird, and I will say this, at least for these 5, the pictures kind of have nothing to do with the card.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like they went into a high school and just ripped pages out of the books.
I disagree a little bit. The Folio of Fancies.
I have the card right here.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws 2 additional cards. That's Font of Mythos. Folio of Fancies is artifact. Player have no maximum hand size. Pay XX tap. Each player draws X cards. Pay 2 and a blue tap. Each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in their hand.
So in the background, it is in the background, but these are all coming out of like a notebook. So
Right.
A folio, right?
Right.
I mean, so that one I'm saying like it kind of does. Concordant Crossroads, man.
Yeah. It's a killer whale with a radio playing music to a raccoon and a dog and a cat,
and they're all wearing swim gear except the raccoon, who can apparently breathe water. I don't know. So I guess they're all being concordant, and they're coming. There's no crossroad.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So the art is not really reminiscent of what the card does. It's like I said. To me, it feels like the art is more. We just wanted to have like these really expressive arts on cards,
and the art
is
cards. Not even cohesive among them.
Yeah. The 5 art styles for these 5 doesn't even match each other.
No.
So they're all different. So I mean, you could probably lie to somebody and say you got these from 5 different sets, and they'd be like, yeah, I believe that. Because they don't even look anything alike. They're like the styling's completely different. I mean, Rite of Flourishing looks like it's a album cover from
the 60s or something.
Yeah, from like the 60s.
It should say
70s.
groovy.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into it because we got more to go through, but yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. The next one is another one from the radio station XKEXP, and this one's Where the Music Matters. Same price, $29.99, $39.99, 2 of each basic. That's what you're getting here. So 10 basic lands, not even enough for a deck. Even if you're playing one of the other formats, that's not enough for a deck.
Right.
So
I mean, this one, at least all the art style is the same, and basically it's a bunch of different stages. Like the plains is like in like a bar, it looks like. The island is like on the beach, and the swamps in the basement. So, the idea behind them is kind of cohesive, and it's all stages, and there's musical instruments everywhere.
And if you wanted it's like music themed deck or something, that'd be really cool. But if you're playing Commander, you're gonna need at least 3 sets of these.
Right.
Plus, then you can play the non-basics.
Right.
Maybe even 4 sets of these, depending on how many basics you're gonna play. And that's if you're playing all 5 colors. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to me, I would never pay that for this, but some people love this. Some people do.
I mean, and some people are probably just gonna buy this just to have them.
Yep.
They're not actually gonna use them. So at least the art in this one, I actually kind of like the art. It looks a little more clean, and I prefer this kind of
style. I like the art on these. I wish they would give you more.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 20 lands. Come on, give me 20 lands. At least then you're paying like $2 a piece.
Yeah, I mean, if you gave me 4 for each color, so give me 20 total. I would even be okay with that, because at least like there's some decks where if you're running 3 colors, that's 12 basics. That's at least a good chunk of your basics. So.
But yeah, so you're either, again, art, I like the art. This is a little more even, I guess, traditional, but it's not traditional because they're stages. But I mean, it's a little less out there.
Yeah, the art style isn't just kind of from left field. It's called Where the Music Matters, and there's stages. It makes sense.
Yep. Next one is featuring Jay Howell. Now, Jay Howell is the artist from Bob's Burgers.
Yep.
And you could tell by the art.
Yeah. This one, as soon as I saw this, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the guy that does Bob's Burgers, because these people look like they belong in that show. And we looked it up, and sure enough, yeah, this is the guy who
Yep.
does the creative drawing for Bob's Burgers.
Yep. Price here same, $29.99, $39.99. Cards are Agent of Treachery, Priest of Forgotten Gods, Treasonous Ogre, Uncivil Unrest, and Marchesa the Black Rose. I like the card choice here better. There's a lot of these cards I play. Personally, I don't like the Marchesa the Black Rose for my commander deck that I have for Marchesa, but I play Treasonous Ogre a lot. Really good card. I play Agent of Treachery. I might be interested in this one. I don't know. Yeah. Value here is $48, so just barely over the foil price. But you know, it's there, and if you're buying non-foil, it's definitely a good value. So the value's solid here.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing here is, again, this art style, if you're not familiar, you know, we'll kind of have it behind us, and maybe we'll even kind of show you Bob's Burgers, just like the characters, so you can kind of see how we got there. I mean, it's very much a very basic in regards to details. It's not, you know, the show's not really details. People have straight noodle arms.
Priest of the Forgotten Gods almost looks like it could have been a scene from Bob's Burgers.
It almost looks like they took one of the characters from the show and put a headdress on him in a robe.
Yeah.
Like it's so close. And same thing for Marchesa. It almost looks like the daughter with longer hair when she's grown up. But yeah, I mean, again, there's some people who really like this art style. They kind of, you know, one of the reasons why they like that show is because the art is more simple and basic, and so a lot of people really like that. Again, at least the art kind of makes sense for the cards. Like you can kind of see
what they were going
what
for.
The correlation
what
is.
Jay Howell was going for here.
Yeah. Like the Treasonous Ogre, rather, not Treacherous Ogre. Treasonous Ogre has an ogre on it, and he's like throwing goblins. The Priest of the Forgotten Gods, he kind of looks like a priest blessing a feast or something like that. You know, so they're kind of reminiscent of what the card's actually supposed to do. So art style again here for me, not really my thing. I'm not as into this.
But I appreciate it. Like I get why people like it. Again, it's something I might be interested in. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. So here, disclaimer. This is where Duncan might get a little heated.
A little bit.
So if you have your volume up to turn it down just a little bit, Duncan might outshine me here.
All right. So
Go ahead.
This one, these next two really. So it's going to last a little while. But anyway, Everything is on Fire is the name of the next one.
Yeah.
Regular price, but this is new. They offer a raised foil version for $99.99.
Right.
Okay. The cards here are Chain Lightning, Dragon's Rage Channeler, Lava Spike, Rift Bolt, and Skewer the Critics. Value, $5. It is cheaper than a Happy Meal. Oh, wait, it's not cheaper, but its value is cheaper. Sorry.
Yeah.
I am not a fan. This is a money grab. They are saying, hey, what if we took garbage cards that have no value? I'm not saying garbage like nobody plays them. I'm saying garbage like they're not worth anything.
Yeah.
And we make them raised foil, and we sell them for $99.99. And we don't even put art on them that's like all that great. It's okay. Yeah. If you like it, you like it. That's fine. But this is not like what was the one, Hitsune Mikado, that everybody liked, the Japanese kind of anime style.
Yeah.
It's not anything like the Lawless Walkers where it was cute. It's nothing that I'm interested in art-wise.
Yeah.
The cards are nothing I'm interested in. And it is blatantly like, I guarantee you, they're just like, will people buy it? The raised foil. I don't think they're as concerned about the other two versions because they probably will still be sitting there next month.
Yeah.
But the raised foil, this is a test.
Yeah, I mean the art is very loud art style on here, and
I mean everything is on fire.
Yeah, I mean
so at least that part of it.
Right, but there's so many other fire-based cards that you could have.
Give me a fireball. That's a card. Well, that costs too much.
But still, man, I mean, City on Fire would have been perfect. I mean, you would think. I mean, give me a Chandra card. How about a Chandra card? Yeah, why? Yeah, there you go. That's a great idea.
Chandra cards. There's some of those that aren't very expensive. At least throw one of those in there.
Yeah.
They picked rock bottom cards that will give you rock bottom value. Right. To see if you'll buy the raised foil. That's my theory.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're okay with paying $100 5 cards that are literally worth $5, then the raised foil's for you.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can't tell what it looks like because we don't have them yet, so we're not going to see.
Right. But they
what it
do
looks
have
like.
2 versions of the card to show you what it kind of looks like.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they highlighted some stuff with yellow to kind of show you, like maybe see where it would stand out comparatively.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. So, but
they didn't even do a good job on that. You can use Photoshop and make 3D effects.
Yeah.
Like you could have made it look 3D on the yellow. They didn't even bother.
Yeah.
Like, nah.
So, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where I think Duncan's right in the sense. I think this is a test to see if people care about the raised foils. And then furthermore, see if people are willing to pay $100 for $5 worth of cards.
Yep. But then, so now the next one is Vroom.
There you go.
Yeah. He didn't like how I said it the first time, so I made sure to say it different.
Thank you.
Same exact offering as Everything is on Fire. Raised foil is $99.99. The others are the normal price.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit better card choice here. A little bit.
Yeah.
Very, very minor. 1 card saves it. Well, 2 cards save this.
Yeah.
So here we have Lava Dart, Monastery Swift Spear, Soul Scar Mage, and Underworld Breach. And the last one is Mishra's Bauble.
Right.
This one will sell out. I am calling it now. It will sell out in the raised foil.
Right.
Because of Underworld Breach and Mishra's Bauble.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think those 2 cards solely are why people would buy the raised foil, especially if it looks clean.
Despite the fact that the value here is $12.
Right.
And that's only because of Underworld Breach.
Right, which is I think is 8 or 9.
It's $7.99.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, again, it's
a money grab. They are just testing, and they're like, well, what if we is it going to sell better if we put a little bit better cards in there? Does this make a difference because people play this? I hope you all don't fall for it. I hope nobody buys this in the raised foil. I'm not going to buy it. At first I was like, well, it's Underworld Breach. Would I? No, I'm not going to do it. I am not going to play their game.
Yeah.
This is a marketing test. You guys have the ability to make your voice heard and not buy it. Magic players are not very good at this. I am begging you, don't buy it.
Yeah, and I will say too, not a big fan of the art on these 5 either. Again, it's very loud. It's very busy. Like looking at it, I feel like if I were to stare at this, especially in a raised foil for an entire game of Commander, I get sick.
Yeah.
Like the art's very busy. And the other thing that's kind of annoying is too, they called it Vroom, and there's 1 creature on here with haste. So I don't know what they define as room. But things not being able
Vroom to the bank.
Yeah,
that's what they're hoping.
Yeah.
Vroom to the bank.
There's no vehicles on here either. You literally have cards in your game called vehicles. Why did you not make a single vehicle in the Secret Lair called
Because
Vroom?
they couldn't call it Ka-ching or you might know what they were doing. That's why it's called Vroom.
But come on, man. Like, Wizards, you
do better.
You were like, you did Deadpool so well.
Yeah.
So well, and you tricked us. Guess what? You did April Fool's us.
Yeah.
Because we were tricked. We thought we had a new Wizards of the Coast doing Secret Lairs. Boy, were we wrong.
Yeah. The trick was that it ran smoothly. It was a good Secret Lair, and everybody was happy.
Yeah, and everyone
that was the
loves
April
it,
Fool's
and
part. Now we're gonna be right back.
Yeah, we're right back.
So I'm expecting the website problems and everything else.
Unfortunately. So, but I mean, again, they just when we're recording this, they announced this on Monday, like in the middle of the day, I think it was around 12 p.m. You said so. They announced it and everything. So, go take a look at stuff, see what you think. Honestly, I'm with Duncan on this. I would not buy into the raised foils.
I wouldn't buy into anything for the Everything is on Fire in the Vroom. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and I don't think most people will.
Yeah.
Except for the raised foils, I'm afraid people are gonna fall for it.
Yeah, I mean, I if you like this kind of art style where it's kind of more chaotic and there's not really organization to anything and it doesn't really match up with anything the card is doing. I know some people really like kind of crazy art and they want to show off crazy art in their decks, which if that's you, man, go for it. But I mean, I would definitely say if you are going to get it, at least don't get the raised foil, please.
Don't fall for any of it. The value is not there. Go make your own proxy if you want chaotic art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, time's running out. Let's move on to Game Changers, updates, and unbannings. So...
Yeah.
This was last week's big news.
Yeah, this was last week's big news. Literally right the day after we recorded.
Yeah, I was like, really?
Yeah, couldn't have happened the day before, but I guess that was on us too because we knew they were going to do it because they kept announcing it was the 22nd and then we recorded on the 21st anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of on us. But so you guys have probably had a week now, a little over a week now to kind of mull this over. And so we just want to give our thoughts. So first off, no bans, just unbans.
Yep, which is nice.
Which is super fun. We don't have to worry about going through and digging stuff out of our decks.
Now, sad news for you prospectors. None of those 3 that they banned back in October got unbanned.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're still banned. However, I think most of the community would say they probably need to remain banned. The only one that might still have a little bit of guff is Mana Crypt, I think, which is rightful, in my opinion. Yeah. But needless to say, so they went over some unbans. So in regards to the unbans list, Gifts Ungiven, Sway of the Stars, Braids, Cabal Minion, Coalition Victory, and Panoptic Mirror. Panoptic Mirror. Were all unbanned, but immediately placed on Game Changers.
Which they hinted that they were going to do.
Right. And again, this is kind of to the idea that I talked about originally, where they have this now, which we initially talked about. I mean, it must have been 30 episodes ago now, where they needed to have a casual ban list and a competitive ban list. They got that with the Game Changers list. So I do think having this Game Changers list is now kind of showing what they can potentially do in the future with these unbans, which is kind of cool to know. Like, hey, we actually could, if we get this bracket system set up well, we could have such a cohesive idea of what is competitive play and non-competitive play just from this Game Changers list. So we kind of assumed that was going to happen. Thoughts on all the ones they unbanned?
Excited about Sway of the Stars. It's going in my Necusar. Panoptic Mirror, I don't think it's that gross, but people use it for gross things. It is used for chaining extra turns, which is not okay, but the way they set up the tiers, it's protected.
Right.
Even in tier 3, you can't chain extra turns, so I'm okay with this. If you're going to use it that way, it's going to be in tier 4 and 5, and more power to you. That's pretty much all I care about.
Yeah, I do think that putting these on the Game Changers list to just kind of keep an eye on them was the right thing to do 100%, and I think that they should always do this. I don't ever think they should just fully unban something and let it out into the wild. I think having it on the Game Changers list to allow people in higher tables to see how it reacts with all the newer stuff is important. So I think that is the best way to do it, hands down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would say the only thing is here, definitely Braids Cabal Minion. I know she's just gross because of like she just is like no one likes giving up stuff.
Yeah.
And especially lands, which is what she can make you do, and so that's kind of an a-hole move.
Yeah.
And since especially
but no mass land destruction is a thing, so that includes this.
Which I mean, I don't know. People may argue the nuance of, well, technically you're sacrificing. I'm not destroying it, and I would say.
But they call it mass land denial. So making me sacrifice is still denial.
It's true, right? So she's the only one that I think they shouldn't even consider taking off the Game Changer. She should definitely, at the very least, always stay a Game Changer and never be below that. Maybe even get rebanned potentially if they keep printing silly cards like they have been, like that demon who exiles everyone's graveyards except for the last 7 cards.
Yeah.
Doomsday Excruciator, I think was his name. So, but I mean, for the most part, because they have the protections that they already have set in place. Like some of these other ones, the one you mentioned that changed extra turns together, it's not really going to be a problem in lower tiers because they already have protection against it.
Yep.
You know, so I don't foresee really any of these other ones becoming a big issue if they remove it from the Game Changers list, because of the way they've already set up the brackets. So the only one I think that would be an issue is probably Braids, just because of she's just gross.
Right. So they also removed 2 cards from the Game Changers.
Right. Yeah, they took 2 off, which we kind of called. Duncan definitely called this one for sure, the first one.
Yep. Trouble in Pairs came off.
Yep. And then
and I said that really didn't belong there. That's a catch-up card or a trying to keep up card. That's not a I'm going to win the game or I'm getting ahead card.
Right. And I think maybe initially why it was on there, kind of looking at it, stepping back, is just because a lot of draw.
In a color that doesn't have draw.
In a color that doesn't have draw, I think that's kind of why they were like, well, this could potentially, someone could draw, a lot of cards in one go around and, whatever. So, but it's not enough to where like you said, it's going to be game ending. Even if they draw 3 cards in one turn, yeah, it's a lot, and it definitely helps, but it could only be either catching up, like you're saying, or if they draw 3 cards,
I mean, if they draw 3 cards, it's because you've attacked them, you've cast multiple
Right.
spells. There's things that you did
Yeah, to
that caused it.
So
And then the other one is Trinisphere. This one's a little odd because there is some negative context to this card, but I don't think it's worse than a lot of the other Stacks cards.
yeah, the big reason why I think this one isn't as bad is because of the fact that a lot of the 0-drop stuff is a game changer. So it's kind of like, well, no one, and the other thing too to kind of emphasize, which I'll kind of keep reminding, is the game changers list is not for high play. Because again, there's no restrictions for high play. You can do whatever you want. The game changer list is to protect tiers brackets 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And when you're protecting brackets 1, 2, and 3, sometimes you overprotect. And I think this going on there was overprotection because they already have so many things set up that it kind of like nulls this at lower tier. It's kind of like, okay, cool, for all those 0-drops I'm gonna cast, that are almost all on the game changers list. Like I don't know like what else anyone would really cast that this would greatly impact, right?
Right.
So I mean there's that. So it's one of those things where sure there's certain cards where some fetches or something like that are 2 drops or whatever and they cost 1 extra. Okay.
Yeah.
It cost me
It's
1
not
extra.
going to have that big a deal.
Yeah, it's not.
And people are upset about Soul Ring. Now it costs 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like.
Yeah, okay. Great. Soul Ring costs 3.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy had to get to 3 also to drop this.
Yeah.
So, whatever.
Yeah.
Like
it's so, and these and all the cards that they well, not the cards they unbanned, but these and the ones we're going to go over in a minute, the ones they added to the game changers.
Right.
These were mostly cards. Well, these two were definitely, they said the cards most, when they got feedback, these ones were most talked about to be removed.
Right.
So this was direct feedback they got from players. Mm-hmm. And for the added to game changers, same thing. Most of these were ones that were recommended to them to add.
Right.
And the overwhelming thing that people said is you need more stuff on the game changers.
Yeah.
So that's what they were going for here. So let's talk about what they added.
Yep. So we'll go through the list here. So
and it's sad Jeff couldn't be here.
I know.
Because these were directed at him.
I was saying that if the initial Game Changers list when it first came out was directed at Duncan for saying they're never going to do anything, they don't ever do anything ever, and then they did the big 3 bands and then they did this Game Changers list and hit like a bunch of Duncan stuff, this was in fact targeting Jeff for him saying all the cards I play are so innocent and these are people of great character. They would never put any of my cards in a Game Changers list because none of them are bad. I'm not a horrible person. And then they hit like 6 of his cards.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Starting with the first one.
T-Pro, baby. To Fairies Protection. Get out of here. How they missed that the first time is beyond me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's a gross one for sure. Yep. Definitely should be there. And then let's read through these real quick and then we'll kind of give a little bit of feedback. So, Humility, Narset, Parter of Veils, Intuition, Consecrated Sphinx, Necropotence, Orcish Bowmasters, Notion Thief, Deflecting Swat, and then Duncan, you can do the rest.
Gamble, Worldly Tutor, Crop Rotation, Seaborn Muse, Natural Order, Food Chain, Aura Shards, Field of the Dead, and Mishra's Workshop.
Yeah, so a lot of these are, in my opinion, absolutely. Yep, should definitely be there.
Orcish Bowmasters. How was it not on the list the first time?
Yeah. Honestly, Notion Thief too. That one sneaking through is a little.
Everybody's like, oh, it's only 4 mana. I'm like, I play it. I've seen how people react. They don't like it.
Yeah, and again, the whole idea behind a Game Changers list, before everyone gets upset and says, well, whenever I play it, people counter it with 17 different free spells. Great, you're playing at high power tables. The Game Changers list is not for high power tables. Again, to point to the bracket system, 4 and 5 have no restrictions. You can do whatever you want.
Yep.
This is to protect the people who are playing in 1, 2, and 3. Because when you think about those brackets, even if you have a silly themed deck that doesn't seem really cohesive, if you put one of these cards in that deck, it drastically increases the lethality of that deck. And that is what the Game Changers are for. So it's something, for me, it was really difficult when I first heard this because I was like, I don't care. I like playing all my high power stuff. Yeah. But then I have to remember, well, I'll just play 4 and 5. Like, I don't need to worry about it then because then I can just keep playing my decks as they are, right? That's the idea behind this. We're protecting the people who are trying to play casually. And Duncan's always said this. He's always felt like that's what this all was geared towards, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why they're doing this. It's why they did the bans back in October. They're trying to protect the casual player.
Right.
They're not trying to punish the high power player. They're trying to protect the casual player.
Right, because you are still 100% allowed to play all of these cards. None of them are not legal. You just are going to be moved to the tier 4, bracket 4, bracket 5 is what you would be considered. That's it.
I will say, I don't think Gamble needs to be on here. I think Gamble is so bad. You're either going to get rid of what you wanted to use the thing with or the thing or...
Yeah, I mean, I get that. But it is a one-drop tutor.
It is. And it is used in the high-power games to get to the win
cons. It has
cons.
a lot of different applications that you can put in a lot of different decks, and it's very beneficial.
Yep. If you want a graveyard, something in your graveyard, there.
And because it's mono red, one red, mono, it's
an unearth in red.
Yeah.
You can go put it in your graveyard.
Right, exactly. That's essentially what you're getting to say to do.
Possibly.
So I mean, I see that point behind it, and that's why I would lean towards. Sure, do I think it's not bannable by any means, which is why why we have the Game Changers list. I do think yes, it being on the Game Changers list, it makes sense. I think so. Same thing with crop rotation. We were talking to Jeff about this too. He said I don't understand why crop rotation is so gross. Crop rotation is disgusting.
Yeah, when people manipulate it, it's ridiculous. It's like, really, you're doing this again?
And it's at instant speed.
Yeah.
It is an instant speed. Go get any land I want and put it into play.
Yep.
At instant speed.
Yep.
That has a lot of things it can do. You know, even with all the lands that they have banned that are on the game, not banned, but on the Game Changers list, there's still a lot of other good lands out there that you can still go get that are utility that are very helpful.
Yep. Let's see. Part of Veils I play. I don't disagree with any of these. Consecrated Sphinx. I get it.
Yeah,
I really do.
I called that one, by the way. I told them. I said that absolutely needs to be
I
a
was
game changer.
not shocked at all when they said that was on the list. I was like, oh man, that was my one. That's now my one card I had to take out of my Vimwix deck because I'm making that no game changers.
Right.
So I had to come out, but I put Secret Restoration on, which should probably also be a game changer. But not enough people play it.
It does cost a lot though.
Yeah, it does cost a lot,
it's
but
like
you double
mana,
the cards in your hand and have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game.
Right, and that's the cool thing about that one is because there's no way to get rid of your maximum hand size now. You just have it.
Yep.
Period.
So I will trade that for Consecrated Sphinx, and I just bought one to put in there, and I didn't know what to cut, and they came out with the list. It's like, now I know what to cut.
Yep, there you go. Made it simple. Necropotence absolutely should. How they missed that one the first time around is mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Humility again, another one that absolutely.
Of all of these on here, the one that I'm like, thank you, is Aura Shards.
Yeah, I mean.
I hate Aura Shards.
I hate that one too. I mean, that one or Seedborn Muse. The fact that people say that Seedborn Muse is not that bad, you go play somebody that plays it and that really plays it. They're not a nice person like Jeff. And this is what we had to keep telling Jeff. Jeff puts restrictions on himself when he plays these cards. He says, I'm going to be a responsible player. Okay, you're like less than 1% of the people in the world that play Magic. Like, no one's going to be responsible.
And he plays Magic less than 1% of the time.
But that is not a reality that we live in, all right, Jeff? Sorry. No.
Yeah.
People are not going to play responsible. They are going to do everything they can to win, and a lot of times that means making broken combos.
In fact, he was like, how can you break crop rotation? I told him like 4 ways in 10 seconds.
Like, well, I've
He's
never done that.
Yeah.
Again, you're not normal. I don't know why you do that to yourself, but that's how you play Magic. Play Magic that way. But no one else does that. So, I mean, there's definitely these are definitely good picks. I don't
Humility again. Why wasn't it?
Yeah, how that missed the first time, but I mean, I don't disagree with any of these. I don't foresee anyone really coming up with a good argument why they shouldn't be on there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty solid picks for sure. The last thing I did want to bring up though before we kind of start rounding everything out about this was in this article that Gavin put out. If you haven't read it yet, please go read it. It's a longer one for sure. He talks about a couple of different things, but one of the things I thought was cool was that he said that when they officially launched this bracket system, it was right before MagicCon Chicago. And he said that in the official survey done of MagicCon Chicago, 87% of people who tried the bracket system said it was helpful in their games. which is incredible. Now, I don't know if you know this, but MagicCon Chicago was very busy. It was
it
was
huge.
very packed. So, and hopefully they got a pretty good survey size. Now, it doesn't say how many people did it.
But the thing I want to point out, that data is skewed.
Sure.
The way they got that data, they had a table set up to test the tiers,
Right.
the brackets, and people came forward to do that. They didn't grab people and say, hey, come try this. Sit down here whether you want to or not, and give me your feedback.
But I think the advantage of the way they did it is the fact that people were voluntarily coming up and trying
But that's
it.
my point. Somebody who was hating the idea was not going to go to that table to try it.
Sure, maybe. I
mean, the people that were going there,
but even
I would like to have better seen what was their opinion before and after. Did they
Right.
sway anybody? What, something like that. But it is cool. I mean, that is promising. I'm just saying it is skewed. We don't know how many people they've converted to like it a little more.
Right. And then the other thing is he goes on in the article to talk about how they've also gotten data back from the Magic Online community, MTG Go. They've also talked to Amy who runs Spellbot, and also through their Discord server. They've gathered a bunch of information. He says, unfortunately, I haven't responded to everybody. Obviously, I can't. But he has tried to read every single comment he can regarding the brackets.
Which is really cool.
Which to me, that puts a little bit of like relief and joy, at least on my side of, okay, if he's being honest, again, I don't know Gavin personally. He's not like my BFF, and I don't text him every night.
No?
No. But if he's being honest about this, like that makes me happy to know that he cares so much about making this product the best it can be that he's taking time to dig through what I can only assume is thousands of comments and responses.
Oh, I'm sure it's tens of thousands.
You're right. So, and the rest of the people on the board too, don't forget, they're also all people who love this game. You have Josh Lee Kwai, Rachel Weeks, and some of the other people who were on the previous committee came back to do this officially with Wizards. So
Olivia's on it. So the other thing I want to say is he said there will be no changes to the bracket system. They know that they need to change it a little bit, but they want to let it breathe. It was only just announced a couple months ago.
Right.
They want to give it time for people to try it out. They already have some things in mind. Like one of the things they said is it's been suggested maybe making Sol Ring a game changer, but allowing every bracket one game changer.
Right.
Therefore, everybody can play it if they want.
Right.
That type of thing. They're not saying they're going to do that. It's just one idea.
Yep.
So, they're going to make some changes, but it's going to be later in the year, maybe August through October, November, somewhere in that range.
And in the article he mentioned, he goes, like, we understand that when we say few tutors, what do you mean by few tutors? When we say mass land destruction or mass land denial, what do you mean by mass land denial? When you say chaining turns, what do you mean by chaining turns? So he understands that there are vague terms that they used initially. And again, like Duncan's saying, a lot of that is because they wanted to get this out there and at least start getting ideas of how to fine tune it, for sure. And so the last thing they did in this article is they kind of breezed over some potential cards that are
cards they thought about taking off or cards they thought about putting
adding to the Game Changers list. So, there was Farewell at one point. Alms Collector was another one they were discussing. Mana Drain, Mystic Remora, Force of Will, Time Twister, and Wheel of Fortune.
Right. Force of Will, obviously, they were like, do we want to take it off?
Right. Grave Pact and Dictate of Erebos.
And the thing I like, though, in this article, he talks about why they were thinking about it and why they did or didn't.
Yeah, he goes into breakdowns for all of these cards that I'm mentioning. He kind of has them sectioned off.
That's a huge time.
It is. And again, that brings me, kind of a little bit of relief and happiness knowing they're putting this much time into it. So Necro Dominance, Cradlehoof Behemoth, The Great Henge, Green Sun Zenith, Court of Calling, Finale of Devastation, Tooth and Nail, Defense of the Heart, and lastly, Sol Rings on this list. But again, that's probably behind.
So it's not that it will never be a game changer, but it might be a game changer, but.
Right.
The game changer, but everybody can have one game changer, so there's your Sol Ring. Something like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of time they're putting into this. I know that it's a polarizing thing.
Yeah.
I do think the game changers is a little bit more receptive audience than the bracket system. People don't like being told they're in a bracket.
Right.
Don't tell me I'm in a bracket.
Yeah.
That type of thing. But I think most people, they agree with some of the game changers. They disagree, with some of the others. But they're talking about it. Whereas some of the brackets, some of the people are just like, I'm not doing that stupid thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny because at our shop, we do have a handful of people. I'd probably say a little bit more than a handful of people that are kind of known as the higher power table players. You know, they have really well-tuned decks that are very expensive, have really expensive cards in them. And even those people know what the game changers are. Even though they may not abide by those rules, they at least know what they are.
Yeah.
And they're being aware of them.
Right. And they have comments on it, which means that they're listening. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's encouraging. But yeah, so anyway, it's a very interesting article. If you have the time, go ahead and read it. At the very bottom, he goes through every single card.
Yeah.
That's on their MY. He did that before, but he just kind of copy and pasted that. Each card that they do, he's telling why. He's explaining the thinking. Each card they don't, he's trying to explain, well, people suggest this, why don't we? That type of thing. It's a very good read. But that's all the time we have. A lot we went over today. Sorry Jeff couldn't be here.
Yeah.
We'll have to get a cup for his tears on his Teferi's protection. And
his necropotence.
Yeah. If you want to email us, you can email us cast@commanderspod.com. If you have any suggestions, comments, concerns, ideas, feedback, whatever it is. We love hearing from you guys. Yeah. You can always check us out on YouTube, Commanders Pod. We're on pretty much every streaming thing you can think of, Spotify, Apple, YouTube Music, you name it. And if you really want to support us, you could go patreon.com/commanderspod. We'd really appreciate it. You might have noticed better video quality lately. We bought some better videos equipment. So that was an investment we made, but I think it's worth it. And we can do those things thanks to our Patreon supporters. So, and that's all the time we have for this week. Until next week, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you then.
Commander's Pod, where the stories unfold, the heroes and villains, new and old. Duncan and Sloan guide the way in the world of these we play. Tune in, friends, we'll fun and go. The Commander's Pod, the love will show. From our decks to yours, we're set apart in the world of magic. We'll leave our mark.